Sarah's absent. I thought Regina might be here. That might be her.
Regina online, Jonathan online, usually online is like, no, there's Regina online.
Jonathan's online.
Oh, yeah, literally 11.
11 out of 12 is good. Are you ready, Candy?
I'm all set.
Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, January 13 of 2026. This is the Stoughton City Council. And the first item would be the roll call. Clerk Kristen.
Okay, Reeves,
Here.
Butler,
Here.
Schumacher,
Here.
Viano,
Here.
Nino,
Here.
Caravello,
Here.
Wozniak Scanlon,
Here.
Sherlucky,
Here.
Hirsch,
Here.
Jensen,
Here.
and Tillison.
Happy to be here.
Okay, we have 11 alders present and Alder Abel is absent and excused.
All right, thank you. We are certified in compliance with open meeting laws. Nobody was signed up for public comment period, but if there's anybody here that would like to speak, you're certainly welcome to speak. There's enough of you here. We'll go right into communications. The first one is we have a resolution in the packet and a citation that Senator Melissa Ratcliffe is going to read regarding the retirement of Bill Brew. I know that's why you're all here. You're not here to see us. So come on up when you're ready. You can push the button, the red light will come on, and Senator Ratcliffe is joined by Representative Randy Udell.
All right. Yes. Thank you all for having us today, this evening. And ultimately, I just want to express our thanks to Bill Brew, who it's really all about this evening, and why Representative Udell and I are here, and appreciate that you gave us this space to present this to Bill and all of his service to the Stoughton community. So if it's okay with you, Rep. Udell and I will read the citation and hear all of the wonderful accomplishments that Bill has provided to Stoughton throughout the years. So can I ask you to come stand up here, please, Bill, if you would, and so everybody can see who we are all grateful for. And I also, you have so many people here in support. Did you know they were all coming?
People.
Yeah, did you invite them all, or did you know they were all coming?
I think they thought there was free cake.
Oh. Wait, there's not? Oh, man. Dave. You have a beautiful family here, too. So I will start it and let Rep. Udell finish it, so we'll tag team a little bit. So, is there a camera too for, yeah, they're all over, okay. I don't wanna get my back end in anybody's face. Okay, so from the state of Wisconsin, whereas an emergency medical technician, EMT, is a trained healthcare professional who provides essential care to individuals in emergency situations, EMTs are responsible for quickly assessing patients, delivering basic life support, administering necessary medical interventions, and stabilizing patients for transport to healthcare facilities. The role of EMTs is vital to the health and safety of the community as they are the front lines of emergency healthcare, as you all know. So whereas Bill Brew has served as a volunteer EMT at various levels since August 1979, dedicating over 46 years to his work. Throughout his career, he has taken on numerous roles, including that of squad leader, where he demonstrated outstanding leadership, compassion, and hard work. And whereas Bill has trained over 3,000 individuals in CPR and responded to more than 19,000 EMS calls over the course of his distinguished career. His estimated 95,000 hours of volunteer service to the city of Stoughton speaks volumes about his unwavering dedication to helping others and the profound impact he has had on the safety and well-being of his community. And I will let Rep. Udell.
Not following, where did you leave off?
Right there.
All right, the other whereas. Whereas, in addition to his volunteer service as an EMT, Bill worked as a full-time teacher at Stoughton Schools, where he inspired countless students to pursue careers in emergency medical services. Through his work as an educator, Bill has helped shape the future of EMS field and influenced the careers of many individuals who are now continuing his legacy. And whereas Bill's leadership, compassion, and hard work will live on long after his retirement, or into his retirement, through the countless individuals he has inspired. His dedication exemplifies the true meaning of public service, characterized by selflessness and unwavering commitment to his community. Would you like to finish?
And well,
All right,
now
now-
therefore, I, Senator Melissa Ratcliffe,
And Representative Randy Udell commend Bill Brule for his exceptional service to the state of Wisconsin. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to him on his well-earned retirement and a wonderful next chapter.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. You guys sit down. Thank you very much. It is an individual honor, what you've given me, but it is such a group effort that I've been a part of. You know, the EMS, I started a couple of years after we got organized, and it was a group effort then. It's even much more of a group effort now, with the policemen responding along with us, the fire department responding along with us. We really do work as a team, and it is such an honor to be part of that group. I want to thank my family for being as supportive as they have been in this endeavor. A lot of call hours, a lot of missed family events. Never something that you can plan for. You can say, well, I'm on call. You never know. And that's the way it is. But thank you very much. And I really encourage the city to support the EMS in the future. It is a challenge right now. And the state legislature to also support our EMS, especially for the volunteer services, because if they're a paid service, yeah, they can survive, but the volunteer service, it's really a challenge, so whatever you can do to support that. And thank you once again, and I'm just going to sit back and relax. Thank you.
thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome to stay, but if you want to fly out of here, I don't blame you. Go find some cake. Thank you all for being here. All right, next we're going to get an update regarding the school resource officer from Officer Oren. You can just tell me when to advance the slide here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so you go ahead and advance to the next slide. So, as Mayor Swadley said, I'm Officer Oren. I am your school resource officer for the Stoughton Area School District. I cover the high school, middle school, and our 3 elementary schools by myself at this time. I want to talk briefly on some of the trainings I've had the opportunity to take since taking the position. I attended it's called the School Resource Officer Basic Training Course. It's a 40-hour training course to kind of familiarize your average patrol officer with some of the federal protections for our students, as well as help us put some vocabulary to what the schools are saying. I've also completed the online portion of the nonviolent crisis intervention that the school district teaches their employees for helping interact with students in crisis. There is a 8-hour classroom portion coming up. I want to say January 19th, which I am scheduled to attend. We have also been fortunate enough to host Safety on the Spectrum, held by the Autism Society of Southern Wisconsin. We are looking forward to some additional trainings this summer, including behavioral threat assessment. That is for dealing with threats of violence at school and how we can weigh how credible those threats are and how to mitigate them. Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. Oop. There we go. So from September 1st to December 19th, I did this from my call logs for those dates, so just before winter vacation. I've handled 165 calls for service between September to December 19th. So, what is that? A little over 40 a month, almost 50, probably a little bit more than that. Those calls for service range from vehicle unlocks, so maybe a staff member or a student has locked their keys in their car, to check persons. That could be a mental health check or a check for truant students at home to see what might be a barrier to attendance. It could also be a call for a physical disturbance at a school. It really varies. If we go on to the next slide, I want to talk about this. So, these numbers, for those of you who are part of public safety, when I presented in, was that October? You will notice we haven't actually had any more vapes recovered, at least that have been turned into Officer Oren. So we are sitting, so far, recovered from students 5 nicotine vapes, 1 THC device, and then 2 THC devices that were just recovered like on the hallway floor. We haven't had any more turned over to me since November 12th. I don't think that is an indication that our students have quit vaping overnight. I think it is we are learning that there is more enforcement in school. That is not me going into bathrooms, just that they have a person who is there and understands what marijuana smells like and can articulate that. And that also the law that was enacted where vapes are now banned for sale in the state of Wisconsin has really made it more difficult for students to get them here in the state. Next slide, please. So far, until December 19th, we've only issued 5 citations. The majority of those are for vape devices, whether it's THC or nicotine. Due to the nature and privacy of students, I'm not going to go into everything that's been cited, especially with such a small sample size. We are doing, in my opinion, a pretty good job of offering students an alternative to a citation and offering plenty of educational opportunities and room for growth. Just because you have a conversation with me or I get pulled into a meeting because of behavior that was exhibited at school doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a law enforcement intervention. Like I said, we are really working on trying to give students and just in general people a better opportunity to grow. Next slide, please. So some of the other activities, other than just law enforcement stuff that I've been able to do, I have intros for kindergarten, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I list those grades specifically because those are the grades I've got to meet with every class. Obviously, 3, 4, 5, and all the freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors, that takes time. There's 2,700 students. There's one me. We're working on it. An SEL mentorship. So at the middle school, we do a social emotional learning group. So they can help you with maybe social interactions, coping mechanisms, stuff like that. I had a student who selected me to be their person that they checked in with weekly. We also have our 18 to 21 transition group, 18 years old to 21, for our adults with special needs who are matriculating through the system. That is housed at our youth center during the day. I've got to do some intros with them, kind of get the introduction to law enforcement. This is what a police car is, just because you see us, not to be scared, kind of that interaction. I also attend lunches, obviously. Our students, I try not to interact too much throughout the day. I don't want to be a distraction. Lunch is a great opportunity to get to sit and talk and meet kids, and that's a little break for them to get and sit and talk to know you and not focus on school at that time. It's a really great opportunity. I also have weekly check-ins with students, so students have identified me as an adult they feel comfortable talking to. They want to see me, tell me about how their week is going, maybe ask for some assistance on getting resources or who else they could turn to, what other adults are in the building that might be able to help them with whatever's going on in their life. I've taught several health classes. We have talked about relationships, drugs, intimate partner violence, internet safety. I've been interviewed, gym classes. I'm scheduled to go play pickleball on Friday. It's very exciting. But I've also got to go to strength and conditioning and run wind sprints with the kids and really kind of show them, like, I'm still a person. Police are people. We have hobbies. We have things that we like to do. We have things we don't like to do. I've been interviewed for student summative projects, so kind of like the big capstone final project for the semester. I've been interviewed for a school paper. I feel like I've really been welcomed kind of in that community, or starting to get there. I thought I knew pretty good what was available for mental health resources as a patrol officer. Obviously, we worked with Journey Mental Health, which is our Dane County crisis mental health provider. But as I've got to work in the schools, I've got to network even more with things like Briar Patch Youth Services and CCS Comprehensive Community Services to help facilitate some better wraparound services for people who are maybe in need of mental health services outside of school. I've also been invited to speak in a women's issues class with Miss Mullen at the high school. We talk a little bit more at length about domestic violence, intimate partner violence, stalking, and try to answer a few more questions in a space. It is hard. I'm a male officer, so I don't have the same perspective as a female officer was, but I try to do my best or reach out to female officers and get some more information. We go to the next slide. Maybe. So that is kind of the end of my presentation. I wanted to be succinct to respect your time, but if we had any questions, I would be happy to take them.
I got one.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you for getting back into doing that. How have you felt that the reintegration has gone over? Do you feel that there are any hurdles that might be able to work through? Was it a rough transition, smooth transition? What are your thoughts on that?
I think by and large it was a fairly smooth transition. I'm a stranger in the building. We have a lot of newer staff who have never had the opportunity to work with a school resource officer. It's also my first time being one. So keeping that in mind, I was going to say we're working together to grow the partnership and figure out where I can contribute more in that environment. But I won't say that every student is going to interact with me and have a positive outlook every time, but by and large we're having success and having positive interactions.
I know the biggest thing is, like rebuilding kind of those community connections and kind of having your ear to the ground on what's going on with things.
Yeah, and I will say, hearing our community's children speak to me, often I hear about what's going on in town even before our police department is responding to things. So it's been a very interesting dynamic.
I bet.
Any other questions?
And you've heard 6, 7 enough to,
Oh, yeah, 6 or 7 times a day. Oh, God, that was bad.
Other person, Nina, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. You mentioned that there were alternatives to citations.
Yeah.
Can you share any examples of what those are?
So I specifically think about when we, say, interact with a student who has been caught either with a nicotine device or a THC device. We have been working with Stoughton Wellness Coalition to say, instead of being issued a $400 and odd citation for THC, complete this course on addiction counseling and follow these expectations after, for school repercussions in lieu of the citation. I was going to say, it's been fairly successful. We are also looking at expanding that and trying to get into some longer format courses to kind of, the one we're doing now is like an hour or two long. We'd like to have it where it's a few sessions to kind of drive home the fact and also maybe help fight some of the addictive portions of like nicotine and THC.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just out of curiosity, do you come up with a lot of like bullying or cyberbullying that you have had to deal with?
So there has been some bullying reported. The way our our municipal ordinance is written, when I go and investigate and determine that an act of bullying occurs, I have to write a letter first before like a citation is issued. But we try to add that a layer in between police contact and enforcement. The schools have been really good at kind of their proactive approaches, having conversations, education, and facilitating more restorative conversations. Kids bully each other. We've all seen it. We were all in school once. It's not going to work every time as far as the restorative conversations are, but we're getting better. I haven't had to issue a formal letter yet, which I'm very thankful for.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Have your stuff.
Perfect.
And let us know if there's anything else you need.
Just be supportive. That's all I can ask.
We'll do our best. All right. At this point, we're going to have an update on police chief retirement.
Have you changed your mind?
That's a silly question.
Just thought I'd ask. It'd make it a lot easier for all of us, so. But on a serious note, the chief's last day, as he announced before, is 2/6. So I've been working very hard with the Police and Fire Commission. They do all of the hiring, firing, and discipline for the city. And we had a meeting last week, and the decision was made that we were going to go internal for our interim or acting chief. So we were looking at the 2 LTs, both Brandon Hill and Chad O'Neill, and we talked with both of them on Monday morning. And Lieutenant O'Neill is not interested in the position. I think he would actually really enjoy it, but he does not meet the minimum qualifications, which is a bachelor's degree. So he said he doesn't want to warm that seat and then have to give that up. So what we've made the decision to do is tomorrow night, the PFC is meeting again, and we will make the decision then whether or not they're going to do an interviewing process for the acting interim, or if they're going to just move forward with Brandon, since that was the one of 2 that they had identified that they wanted to have take over effective when chief leaves on 2/6. Any questions on that process? Okay. The next part is the chief hiring process. So we posted an ad on 1/7, and that closes on 1/21. If you remember, our hiring policy requires us to be both internal and external concurrently, so we have done that. Thank you to the chief. He was interviewed by Channel 15, so that gave us some really good coverage that we were going to have an opening. We also have been on the city's website, government jobs, and other sites that we posted back in 2022. So all of those have been placed, or at least the order was placed for them to put the ad up for us. 122 or 123, once we close that position out, then I will go through all of the applications and vet them to make sure that the individuals that applied meet the minimum qualifications. Once I do that, then I'll be calling a meeting with the PFC to go through those applicants and determine who we're going to be interviewing. In the meantime, I'm getting a subject matter expert or the expert panel set up. They will run at the same time as our Police and Fire Commission does the management side. So we will look at both the chiefing side. We'll be able to vet the candidate out through our experts that participate in that. And then the management side is the PFC interviewing the individual as well. And we may bring in another person, not just the PFC. So they've identified who they want. We've had last Monday and then the Wednesday before that when we met, we went through and made a decision as to who we wanted to invite to be part of that panel. So we are extending those offers right now. The week of 2/16, let me back up 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks in there in which we don't have a quorum, so we have to wait until 2/16 when everybody gets back. At that point, on 2/16, we will start our interviews, which will take place concurrently. The SMEs will be in one room interviewing. The PFC will be in another room. Once the interviews have concluded, we come together. We get the feedback from the SMEs. They are then excused, and the PFC will begin deliberations to determine what their next steps are. Once we get through that, and if we do second interviews or third interviews, at that point, then we will make a conditional offer to the candidate. And we expect that to happen hopefully the week of 2/23. This is our aggressive schedule. Once that offer is made, the individual will have to take a psych. They will go through a physical, and then they go through the drug screen and background check. The background check and all of that process takes between 2 and 3 weeks. That's really pushing it. Chief, how long would you say your average background takes?
Well, if you look at the candidate's age, that adds a lot, because typically, like the 2 officers that just started at recruit school yesterday,
Yeah,
they're
no
young.
background.
They're 20, 22 years old.
Right.
You get a 40 or 50-year-old candidate, a lot of life experience. It could, it could be like 3 to 4 weeks just for the background alone.
Yeah. Okay, so at the same time that background's taking place, we would be doing the psych eval as well as the drug screen and the physical. So just so you know, we're trying to do everything to keep the process moving. If all goes as planned, we will be bringing that individual here for final council approval on March 24th. And then if it's an external candidate, typically they would give 4 weeks notice. So we are looking at a start date, if it's external, of 4/27. Obviously, the timeline would be moved up in the event that it's an internal offer. Any questions for me on how that process works? Any questions on the dates? Okay, any questions at all? If you could talk him out of it, I'd be mighty happy, so.
You'll be
Okay,
in just in time for setting Maya, too.
there you go, welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, next item is the introduction of historical fact. Is it on EMS?
No, well, kind of. Kind of. There's a few in there. These are tough acts to follow, though, I mean, with this. All right, so just a couple of items here. Council actions or originations of things in the city. 1954, there was an ordinance created for licensing of all bikes. Do you know about that one, Phil? Licensing of all bikes, and the chief of police was tasked to inspect all bikes in the city. So, add that into the job description for the next.
We'll take care of that.
Perfect. 1957, the curfew for minors was established, 10 p.m. curfew. In 1965, crossing guards were designated as part-time police officers by an ordinance. In 1971, the snow emergency parking ordinance was enacted. In 1977, the council's code of ethics for public officials was established. And in 1979, the first full-time building inspector was hired for the city. And in 1980 was the establishment of the Landmarks Commission. So a few of the things that we've talked about in the committee before and this one, so. But how are the bikes, Chief? Are they?
Look pretty darn good.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
I have, in my years here, I have run across an occasional City of Stoughton bicycle license affixed to a bike. So there are still some of them out there.
Orange and black, about that big, right?
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I'm not picturing them in my head, but
Bike, I had one.
you had, well, you're a better testament than.
All right, we'll move into the consent agenda. There's a few items in there. I would entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Tillison, is there a second? Second by Jensen. Would anybody like anything acted on separately? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we have a first reading for ordinance 1 of 2026. And this one came from the Plan Commission, Alderperson Caravello.
And this is ordinance 1 of 2026, an ordinance amending chapter 78 to consider repealing zoning code section General Industrial District 78-105, parentheses 5, parentheses B, and updating the name of planned industrial to light industrial zoning section district 78-105, parentheses 5, parentheses 8, in the City of Stoughton Municipal Code. And as you said, this is a first reading.
All right, anything you want to explain about that one, or?
Nope, this is just continuing stuff that we're doing at planning and Chris is doing to clean things up and make our ordinances easier. And I think she's out there somewhere.
All right, anything you want to?
I'm on. Did you guys want me to explain a little bit more? So essentially what's going on is during the comp plan rewrite, we got on and we found that the general industrial zoning district, there was not one property zoned bad. And we started looking and realized that both of the use, like all of the uses, fall under either the planned industrial or the heavy industrial. And so we decided to get rid of that like middle industrial since it's not being utilized. And then we're just changing the name from planned industrial to light industrial. So we'll have light industrial and heavy industrial. Planned industrial kind of implies that it's like being planned. It's not necessarily a zoning district. So.
Alderperson Hirsch.
So just a clarification, we're getting rid of general industrial and planned industrial and converting both of those to light industrial. I was a little, didn't know if that was true.
I think we're getting rid of one and renaming the other one.
Yeah, so general industrial is going away. There's not one property out there that's being utilized in general industrial. And when I went through the uses in general industrial, they all could fall under what currently is the planned industrial or the heavy industrial. And then through discussions with like the comp plan, we decided to change the name from planned industrial to light industrial. That's staying, all of it staying the same. The name is just changing because again, like planned industrial implies that it's being planned. It's not the district. Plus it, if you look at the categories, it's, you know, the planned industrial really fits more of a definition of light industrial, but uses aren't changing. The current district that is not being utilized is just going away. And then those uses listed in both of those categories fall either under what will be the light industrial, the heavy industrial. So it's not like we're getting rid of a use.
Okay, thank you. And also, just as a comment, in the packet, all the changes weren't like redlined, so it was really hard to, I mean, I had to like search and take a lot of different steps to figure out where in the ordinance things were changed. And usually we have them redlined, and I was just
Yeah.
hoping that would continue.
Yeah, I think it's something, so they are redlined on my copy, and I think when it gets converted over into PDF, it goes away. And I thought this last time what I tried to do was actually I printed out, it redlined and then scanned it in, hoping that that would help, but I'll try to work with John and see what I can do. I apologize. Or maybe I just put them in as two separate like the document and then the redline document in Word. So.
No, thank you. I know you tried, but it'd be nice to not have to go through 306 pages, but just try to figure out where the changes are.
Understood.
Are there any other questions? So this is first reading, so it'll come back at the next meeting. And we'll move on to the next one, which is R2 of 2026. And this one here is related to Stoughton Utilities. Who would like to entertain this one?
Sure. Let's see. I gotta find. I apologize. Give me 1 second here. I'll find it. It's not in my packet here. Mayor, would you be kind enough to read this one, please?
Oh, go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you.
I mean, I thought you had it ready.
That'll work.
This is R02 of 2026, a resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton amending the authorized signatures for Stoughton Utilities. And I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderperson Reeves.
And so this is, as we all know, that previous utilities director, Director Weiss, resigned in July, and then we had the assistant utilities director, Brian Hoops, was then authorized to sign all the important documents. Well, now we've hired Director Adam Schleicher. I can never say his name right. Sorry about that. I butchered you. And so we want to make sure that he is the official person signing all the official documents. So that's what this is all about.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right, looks like the next three are coming from finance. Or next two are coming from finance.
All right. So this first one is R03, and it should be of 2026, presumably. Looks like there's a typo in here. Adopting the revised tax increment financing application and policy, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nino. Alderperson Butler.
And this is to incorporate some more detail around especially sustainability items in the TIF application process. It's been something we've discussed several times over the years.
All right. Is there anything you want to highlight? Since I think Sustainability Committee, you guys worked on this, right?
Yeah, so the request came from Common Council to create some guidance and increase in awareness of sustainable development option that the city would like to encourage. So the Sustainability Committee reviewed applications, policies, and guidance from other communities. We also looked at the city's sustainability action plan to sort of bring this application into alignment with the standards for development and the sustainability expectations that the city has for projects that would receive this type of funding. So through the process of adding the sustainability guidance to this goals section of the TIF application, the language of all of the other guidance was updated to bring it into conformity. So that's why you see so many things redlined. But a lot of the existing, or none of the existing guidance was altered other than that language shift. And then I do think it's important to note these are not requirements, right? State code doesn't allow us to mandate this type of thing. This is merely just a way for us to sort of use the TIF funding to guide projects toward the standard of development that we would like to see.
Okay. Any questions about any of that? Go ahead.
No, I greatly appreciate you guys doing this. I was, before you just said that, oh, we can't mandate it, I was wondering if there was like a rubric of kind of practices that we, would like to see more of, or, trying to scale it of what is more important to the city or more important to a development, or, has more weight because it does more sustainability or environmental good, or more, just trying to, so when a developer comes in and fills it out, how do we, judge whether this is actually meeting any, I mean, can't require it, but how do we know that it's actually meeting what we want to achieve? I mean, I know you can go look at the comp plan and your sustainability, but
I think our approach has been, we take each development kind of on an individual basis. When we say we can't require it, that's because of state building codes, but we can certainly, and Rick can fill in the blanks here, negotiate through the TIF agreement what requirements we want to have in there and, justify the funding for that.
Yeah, that's correct. So the TIF is, we're not mandating that they, that every development does something, but if they're asking for, tax increment financing as part of that negotiation, I guess prime example would be Stoughton trailers, which a lot of you probably remember. There was a lot of negotiation over what sort of sustainable elements they would need to include, and that was put directly in the development agreement. And how we went about enforcing it is essentially saying you're not going to get your municipal revenue obligation until you have your architect or engineer certify that it's got all of these specific elements that we're including. So that's what we started to do recently, is trying to just create more accountability for that. But it's kind of harder to do it on the front end unless you're very specific about what elements need to be included. So like the more specificity we can get on some of these sustainable elements and projects, that's just going to make the development agreement easier to write and be enforceable.
Yeah, and I think the other approach is, through the zoning code, which is a process in itself. Some municipalities have done that. I think you looked at some examples, Middleton especially, where they've done that on things like burglass windows and things like that. I think the challenge with that is, like I said earlier, every project is a little different, may or may not be relevant, and if you have a hard zoning code, it might not give you enough flexibility to reach all the goals. There may be something else that you can negotiate through the TIF agreement that might actually be more valuable. But certainly that would be another avenue that we could look at if there's something specific that...
Well, some of these questions are really well written, and it would be nice to have like a guideline for when, the Plan Commission or RDA or all of us are looking at kind of like a hierarchy of what we really want, and the Sustainability Committee did a great job with that whole document, but maybe like kind of looking at the prioritization of those and kind of have like a bare minimum of what we'd like for each TIF. You know, we can't mandate it, but we also don't have to agree to a TIF if they don't do certain things either.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we're at. We don't have to agree to it. I think the challenge is not every, like I said, not every project's the same, not every site's the same. So you might have a location where it would work great for geothermal, and if we put something in the TIF thing.
No, but you can say, okay, we're looking for X, you know, electricity reduction. They can do geothermal. They can do, you know, you give them a list, and as opposed to just not doing anything. Or if we have, you know, like with when we did Emmy Roth, a certain percentage, you know, of solar, you know, those
Right.
are the types of things. So, you know, not all of us are going to be here in the future years because we're all, you know, we have great
It
journeys.
is challenging to get that level of specificity.
No, but we can have it started.
Because it might depend on the size of the roof and what kind of power they're generating. It might depend on what incentives are out there to help offset
But
the
those are all
costs.
negotiating things. This is the ideal, and this is, you
And
know,
I think that's what they tried to capture in here. I don't know, I mean, if you have some specific language that, I think this will be kind of an ongoing work in progress.
well,
If
I'm
there's
just saying, this could be the next step, and
Yeah.
Adrian has her hand up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, you know, one of our goals was to quickly get an update moving so that the next time a request comes in, like in 2026, I don't know when that will happen, but I'm assuming it could be any day, right? So we wanted to get something in place, and this, I think, is intended to create awareness of sustainability measures that could be implemented and start a conversation. So this application will come to Plan Commission, right? And you'll be able to see which boxes they checked, if any. And if they haven't, Plan Commission can say, we noticed you only checked one box, you didn't say a whole lot, let's talk more about how you're gonna meet our standards. So really a conversation starter for the negotiation. I think a scoring rubric that Plan Commission could use would be a potential excellent next step. I think there's a lot of improvement yet that we could do within this policy and application. And so, yeah, I would love to see that be pursued as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we have to make sure the language in there for the Plan Commission is in there, though, because I think actually the TIF request goes through the Finance Committee currently, so that might be something else we might want to look at. You know, maybe they both look at it. I mean, we're open to anything as long as we can keep the process moving. But certainly, I think that this is a good beginning. I mean, compared to where we were 2 years ago, we had nothing, so I think this is really a good start.
I think I'd like to see to get like a list of examples of things that could be done. So like what Regina's referring to, like, you know, here are some things that have been done in other communities, and then maybe exemplify like what the last half a dozen TIF requests have come in through us, and say they've done this, this, and this, and you can go out and you can visit these things if you want to see it. So examples and what we're thinking about.
So process-wise, if anybody has any additional thoughts, you want them just forwarded to you for the committee, or how would you like to handle it?
That would be okay with me.
Yeah, maybe we can get together and start talking about
Yeah,
it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, one other item that we wanted to pursue in the future too was also outlining things that would not be, that would be more standard, like energy efficient fixtures, you know, water fixtures and light fixtures. Like that at this point is sort of just expected and wouldn't elevate your TIF application, basically. So having a list of those types of items too is like, these aren't gonna score you any extra points. So yeah, we've got some work to do still.
Any other questions or comments? Here,
I was just going to say, a good place to start is look at how lead building actually scores different things. I mean, and they have sort of like a nice rubric that we can start looking at. Because, you know, some people might, part of lead certification is bike racks, which are great, but is that going to be as good as if they did 30% of their electricity on solar? So that's the part where I'm saying, how are we going to weigh if they do certain things, but this would give our community a better benefit than, you know, some of the easier, cheaper stuff that they'll try to put in there.
all right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is R4.
All right, this is R4 of 2026, authorizing the borrowing of approximately $1,300,000 from the Wisconsin State Trust Fund for the purchase of property, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wozniak Scanlon. Alderperson Butler.
Okay, and this passed unanimously in finance this evening, and this is to authorize the city to borrow through the state of Wisconsin to borrow from the state trust funds in anticipation of potential purchase in the Williams Drive area. And I'd let Lisa add additional information.
So yep, looking to borrow money through the state trust fund loan for the purchase of the Williams Drive property, using this mechanism as it is prepayable at any time, not knowing the situation of if the utilities is going to purchase a portion of the property. If they do, we could pay it off. We can also refinance this through a new debt issue if the interest savings would make economic sense to do so.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this one? And I think where we're at on this one, are we still waiting for the soil sample?
Yes, the two things that we're waiting for are the soil borings, which I think they did right before Christmas, and then the survey of the property, which Strand is working on right now.
Okay.
So those are the last two items left.
All right. Any questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is R5.
All right, R5 of 2026, to amend the 2026 capital budget for street sweeper number 12 for Public Works, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Schumacher. Alderperson Butler.
I'll try to get this so that you don't have to say anything, Lisa. This is, we had passed through the CIP plan funds totaling $385,000 to purchase a replacement street sweeper. But in looking at options, what has been found is that a new street sweeper within the time frame we need it will come in, this is a demo model, if I recall correctly, will come in $13,560 higher at $398,560. Kind of offsetting that, and this was a topic of conversation tonight, is we have the old street sweeper, which we will attempt to sell at auction. The original estimate for the revenue for that was $18,000, but it's now expected to garner, love that word, $30,000+ in auction. So that is included in this resolution. And what did we decide? We have 3 street sweepers right now?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 And any opposed? That motion carries. R6, I guess I'll let the city attorney walk us through where he's at on this one.
So after the last meeting, I reached out to the tenant of the property on Williams Drive, because if the offer to purchase, one of the conditions is having a lease in place with the current tenant, who's a family member, that the current owners want to allow him to keep farming the land until the city's ready to develop it. The tenant had a couple of changes. So one was reducing the acreage, so it's a 27.8 acre of land, but because of trees on the property, it ends up only being 25 tillable acres, so that was reduced to 25 acres. And the other one, the request previously was to have the lease payments split up between the start and the finish of the lease, so like 50 up front, 50 at the end. The, I guess, model that he historically is used is he harvests his crops and uses the funds from the sale to pay the lease at the end of it, so he has to just be able to pay at the end of the lease period. It's a relatively small amount of money. I think it's like $5,000. So this lease includes those changes that he requested. We have the option to go into closed session if we want to talk about any of this. Otherwise, we could approve the lease, or I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thoughts, questions, motions?
No, I think his 2 points on there I thought were reasonable.
Yeah, I was just going to say, motion to approve.
Motion by Hirsch, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Reeves. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Schumacher, is there a second?
Greg.
What?
Greg. Second.
Oh, all right. Second by, who was the second by?
Greg.
Jensen?
Yeah.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? We are adjourned.